Matthew chapter 7, Jesus gives us the Beatitudes. We've all read it. We've all heard it preached. We know the story. Verse 12, we all know that he tells us the golden rule is how we treat other people, is how we want to be treated. And then he walks into verses 13 and 14. In 13 and 14, he talks about this narrow gate, and he says that narrow is the way you have to go. He goes on to explain himself because he says narrow is the gate because if you go wide, it leads to destruction. It ruins life. When you're coming off the bench, I believe this is something we all have to know also, especially if you're pitching the ball. You see, a pitcher has to learn how to get that pitch narrow. He needs to learn how to bring it down because he knows that if he pitches it wide, he's going to have foul balls, he's going to have balls called on him, and he's going to lose the game. Why? Because narrow is the way. I was here in Alaska this morning, and as we were walking along these railroad tracks, all of a sudden my mind started thinking about the train. It's narrow, the path it has. Those are big trains. There's a lot to them, but narrow are the tracks. You see, if the train gets off the tracks, it loses. If the pitcher pitches wide, it loses. If you're coming off the bench and you don't learn to narrow it down, you lose. Why? Because Jesus wants us to focus on one thing, and that's him only. And the world will try to make you go wide and see other things, but Jesus says, bring it back down. What I want out of you is all that matters. So today I want you to get your train back on track. I want you to get your pitches down. Because if you're coming off the bench, I want you to win. Narrow's the way when you're coming off the bench.